Oh my goodness, you guys. Welcome to another episode of Sunny Side Up podcast. And our guest today, we get to see, I get to see in person, well, on Zoom. I get to see her beautiful face, is what I was trying to say. And I have not been able to see her for a while. So this is such a treat. We are on today with Anna Poling, and Anna is a mama, and she has walked through all of the brutal things about motherhood. And today she's going to share with us about what it means and what it looks like to have a son, a child with autism. April is World Autism Awareness Month. And so we just got to chatting and we thought, you know what? This would be a perfect opportunity to tell the world about autism. And yeah, so Anna, welcome to Sunny Side Up.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm very excited.
Yes, so glad you were here.
Yeah.
So let's get to know you a little bit. Tell the world, tell Sunny Side Up about what you do in this world, your kiddos, just who are you? Who is Anna Poling?
Okay, well, I'm a mother and a wife. Thankfully, I'm a stay-at-home mom of three. I have an amazing stepson. His name is Cash. And then I have my son who's on the spectrum. He's three. He's still nonverbal. His name is Kobie. And I have Lucy. She's 2 years old. So very busy, with my son that has ton of therapy, and he also goes to the chiropractor. So I'm a busy mama that loves what she does. And again, just thankful that I can be the person that is able to run around with my kids and take them where they need to go.
Absolutely. And I love that you said that too, because I think it's all a matter of perspective, right? Motherhood is so fleeting, and to be able to be home with those kiddos is an incredible blessing to them and to you. And I have to say, too, as we dive into your story, it's really inspiring and it's really refreshing to hear you say that, because I can only imagine the challenges that come with having, first of all, three kids, but second of all, a child that has autism. So tell us about Kobie. Tell us about, you mentioned to me when we were chatting ahead of time and just in knowing you that he was born premature,
Mhm.
which is another storm, another challenge in of itself, right? So tell us about that if you're willing to talk us through his birth and finding out he had autism and those things.
Yes, so it was incredibly difficult when he was born because he was so unexpected. I was 29 weeks pregnant, and I was rushed to the emergency room, and within 30 minutes, he was born, and he was 2 pounds. So, in that moment, it's like I don't have any memory because my body went through so much in such a short time that I just remember waking up almost like in the middle of the night and just wanting to see my baby. And when they took me to see him, and he was in an incubator, and he was, tiny, and he had all these cables around him. I just remember holding him the first time and just thinking like, it's, those moments when you don't expect it, but you are at the same time very grateful that God was there because God saved him. If I would have been a little bit later in the hospital, my son would have not made it. So I was at the moment very humble and thankful that God saved my son. And through the journey, it was very, very difficult as a first time mom, and not having my family here. My mom had just came to visit that week for my baby shower, and I ended up having my son, and it was COVID. So she wasn't even able to come to the hospital and be with me, and she had to go back to New York while I was in the hospital. So it was very, very difficult for not only for me but my family. And then just to come home with a premature baby that has been in a NICU for 8 weeks, it was it was very, very difficult. I was used to sitting in the hospital with the nurses like taking care of him, and he had like so many monitors and just listening to the beep, like make sure he was alive. And then he came home, and that was wasn't there. I remember panicking like in the middle of the night, just checking on him, making sure he was still alive. Um, so it was a very, very difficult time, but at the same time, I really believe God placed me in that position because I needed him the most. I was so far away from him, and in that trial, I realized nothing else matters but him. Like I needed him. He was my only strength. And 3 years later, I get the diagnosis that my son is on the spectrum. So getting that news was very, very difficult, heartbreaking. I think you go through a process where you kind of like grieve like what you wish you would have had, and just see your kid that struggles with reaching milestones that for other kids are very normal and easy. They come natural. And with him, it's like he has to put so much in taking work and to be able to do things that for other kids are very easy. So yeah, honestly, it's been a journey, lots of ups and downs, but there's so much teaching through the process that I'm very, very humbled.
So, Kobie was your firstborn, and when you leading up to the 29 weeks of him being born, did you have any indication he was going to be born early? Was there anything in the ultrasound or anything like that?
No, I had a healthy pregnancy. Before getting pregnant, I was always active, always worked out. And I remember that being my first question to my doctor if I was able to, continue to do my workouts as normal. And I was encouraged to continue to do the same. Um, so I really had a healthy pregnancy. And I just remember the Sunday that he was born, I didn't feel like I was okay. There was something telling me something was off, but didn't really concern me to be like, I have to go get checked until at the very end, it was like really hit me. And next thing I know, I'm like rushed to the hospital. And and it was kind of disappointing because I never until this day got an answer of what really happened. The doctors couldn't tell me what was the reason why he was born premature.
Well, and I know we live in a world where we want the answer to everything, right?
Hmm.
We live in a world where we want the answer to everything, but I think sometimes there are things that happen in life where only God knows the answer. Um, and I know you are a woman of such strong faith. Um, but I also want to honor you saying how hard that must have been to have your son in the NICU for 8 weeks to not be able to bring him home. And it's like we want to count our blessings and we want to be grateful and we want to find that faith. And we do have that faith. But you also have to speak your truth that that was hard and that was challenging. And by saying that, others don't feel alone, right? In walking through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes because, we believe in God and we're Christians, like we have this picture that we have to be always strong and always positive and never complain. But really God wants to hear exactly how we feel. And, in that time I was just coming to him as I was and just letting my soul just weep, and just give him everything. And until like today too, I do the same when we have really hard days with Kobie. I just tell him exactly how I feel and I ask for his strength because at the end of the day, we're humans and he's powerful, but we are weak.
Absolutely. What does a hard day with Kobie look like, Anna?
A hard day with Kobie is very overwhelming. There is lots of meltdowns, and the hardest part is that you just don't know why, because he's not able to tell you, he doesn't speak. So lots of banging his head, sometimes biting himself and just screaming. Um, it's a lot. And again, that just really breaks my heart because there is nothing worse when you see your child suffered and you don't know why. You tried so many things like, and I have learned and I do research and I'm not an expert on the autism, but I just try to see, okay, what ways can I help him? I have like massages that I do for him, like a brushing technique. He has a swing where we go and I rock him, and he loves music, so I play like godly music for him that helps to kind of like soothe him, and I pray for him. But it just that's the thing, when your child is on the spectrum, you never know what you get. And I mean, I think motherhood overall, you have really good days, really bad days, but you think you're prepared for it, but you're really not.
Well, that certainly is true for motherhood in general, but don't minimize, the toughness of that, because you're a lot of parents out there can't relate to that, and a lot of parents can. So you just speaking your truth is so important. Um, so what does a good day with Kobie look like?
A good day with Kobie, it's a lot of smiles and lots of hugs. That's one thing that I love the most about Kobie. He is very affectionate. Like, he loves to express his love. He's a happy kid. So thankfully we have a lot more good days than bad days. And that keeps me, just very grateful for this journey, because he has a joy that I just really can explain. Only people that know Kobie and see him and just receive his love know that is extra, because kids on the spectrum just feel even more than we do. Like, they can just hide their emotions. Like, if they're happy, they are happy. They're gonna be loud and show you they're happy. So, a really good day with Kobie. It's a lot of fun. He's very hyper. He loves to go outside and run and go to the park. He loves to swing. Um, so it's a lot of fun when it's good days.
And you just lit up talking about that. So I love that. You did. You just literally started glowing. Um,
Oh,
Talk to me about what a support system for autism looks like, because you were sharing what you do to help him, but who's supporting you? What's that journey look like?
yeah, that's a good question. I'm gonna say my support system for me myself. Thankfully, God has given me friends through my church and like my relationships, with my family. But when it comes to the autism and Kobie's development, I have an amazing support through chiropractor care, which is it's so cool. I never really thought I would need it. And we started chiropractor care in December, and I have seen so much progress in my son, and in myself as well, because I feel so encouraged when I go there. And my doctor is amazing. She's always giving me assurance of things that my son is going to be able to do. Now, if we focus on therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy, and the school system, I feel like because he has been already diagnosed, autistic, they see him as a person that is autistic, and, well, this is what he's not going to be able to do. We're going to work on these things with him, but realistically only like 30% or like 50% of kids on the spectrum will be able to do this or do that. So that's been challenging. Sometimes when I go pick him up from therapy, they would say things like, if I ask how his engagement was, because that's one thing you don't know about Kobie. Some days he engaged a lot, other days he's not looking at you, he's in his own world, right? So I ask about his speech, and I often hear, well, we're not really expecting him to engage. We're not expecting him to talk. So I guess I'm still working on a way that, as a special needs mom, I stand on hopeful, and I stand, on the power of not yet. Not yet. He's not yet talking, not yet maybe engaging, but he will. I think it's so important. But I don't know how to say this. I don't want to make the system look smaller, but the support really, and I see it like on Instagram, other moms that share their journeys too. Unfortunately, it's not the best support. Yeah.
Well, this is where we start. I truly believe that we speak it out loud when we desire a change and we need a change. And for you to say the support could be better, the support could be greater, my prayer and my hope is that people come out of the woodworks listening to this episode and say, "Hey, Anna, here's a beautiful community of people that rally around autism." Or like already I'm thinking of things in my own wellness sphere. There's something that just opened in Ferndale called Fourth Try. Have you heard of this?
No, I don't think so.
So Citizen Yoga opened up something called Fourth Try, and it's all about the fourth trimester, which is after our babies are born, and how moms don't get the support that they need. And when the mother is supported, the baby is supported. So it's just really beautiful to hear about things like that coming into the world. Like we are the change, right? We initiate that change.
Mhm.
Um, and I loved when you said, not yet, because we have to push back when we go to the doctors or we go to our support system or our schools or whatever it is, and they say, well, we don't really think that's possible. We know as mama bears in our intuition and in our hearts and in our guidance and in our faith what is possible. So I love that you're standing firm in that place, that space of not yet. And also being realistic, right? And listening to your intuition and what the needs of Kobie are, and then the needs of your other kids as well. Um, and you're a first time mama walking through this. I mean, you've never had a child with autism before.
Right.
How has the chiropractor given you hope? What takes place at the chiropractor? Is it an adjustment? Is it supplements? Is it all of it? What does that look like?
I would say that the plan that was provided for my son and the scans that they did before that plan was set, it was just very interesting in the way they explained it, and just the connection of the nerves that it's just so interesting, and at first we were kind of like, should we try it? But at this point you would try anything, if you hear, if we follow this plan, your child is going to speak, you're going to do it. You are waiting for that moment. So, and I've seen it. I mean, my son before the chiropractor wasn't sleeping. My son will go to bed at midnight, and then he will be up at 2 o'clock in the morning already. He will only sleep for 2 hours, wake up at 2 in the morning, like just screaming happy, ready to play, wouldn't go back to sleep until 5 o'clock in the morning. And now with chiropractor, like he sleeps through the night, and it's been amazing. Like no longer needs supplements for bowel movements like before. So things like that, and the support has been amazing in a way that when I go in there, the first thing my doctor asks is, "How is mom doing?" And it's just really amazing because sometimes I'm so caught up with the routine and on the go and rushing, and I take care of 3 kids. So my focus are them that I often forget about myself in a way that, we and I don't want to say like I need people, but I am a people person, and I'm someone that really needs company in a way, and just so having the doctor check on me has been very, very encouraging, and I'm very thankful for that. And she will often ask, do you want me to adjust you today? Or she would do anything to just put a smile on my face, and um, it's been very nice.
That is absolutely incredible, and I'm so grateful that you you found a doctor. That's the way it should be, Anna. That is the
Yes.
way it should be, and I think the more we lean into that and share that and push back on, at times, a very broken medical system, right?
Mm,
I'm just so glad that you found that.
yeah.
So, yay.
Honestly, it was amazing because I found on Instagram that's called like PS Doctors, and they did like a webinar, and that's how I found my chiropractor, and she will be doing a workshop in I think it's April 25th in Ann Arbor. The name of the chiropractor is Journey Chiropractor. But it's just it's interesting because, you know, if you go to your doctors, they would say they will grow out of it. They will grow out of these things. But sometimes it has to do with the nervous system.
So, in my line of work, I am in a 4-year program to become a naturopathic doctor. And natural medicine means looking for the root cause, right? And you and I both know there are some things in this life, we want to fix everything, but we can't, right? And that feels disempowering. We feel like we're losing our power, even though we don't have control to begin with. But in natural medicine, looking for the root, when you brought up the nervous system, I was so hoping, Anna, that you would say that because any sort of any sort of thing going on with the body that has to do with the brain, I always think of the nervous system now and all that I have learned about. Have you heard of craniosacral therapy?
No.
Okay, so craniosacral therapy is one of the most incredible modalities for the nervous system. And essentially, the craniosacral fluid that runs up and down your spine, where your nervous system lives, right? The fluid can get kind of sticky and stuck in places of the body. So, craniosacral therapy allows the rebalancing of the craniosacral fluid all the way from the cranium of the head down to the sacrum. And
Wow.
there's more science to it than that. And I would love to talk with you offline about the science behind craniosacral because I think with a child like Kobie or anybody out there listening that has any sort of closed head injury, multiple sclerosis, MS, because MS is nerve related. It's about the nervous system. Autism, amazing for autism, and even ADHD, because all of those things have to do with the brain, the nervous system, and the flow. How the flow of the craniosacral fluid, and then we also have this fluid surrounding our brain called the dura mater. And again, getting more into the science of it, but the dura mater around your brain is always moving. And sometimes it can get imbalanced from one side to the other, which affects the whole body
Wow.
um, because everything's connected, right? Everything in the body is connected. So, anybody out there listening that can walk away from this episode in hope, and feeling hope in chiropractics, in natural medicine, and craniosacral therapy, I really wanted to talk about with you today, Anna, because um, everything we talk about in Sunny Side Up is a tool. What
Mhm.
tools are we missing? What don't we have in our toolbox, right? Um, and the other thing I really loved is, and shout out to Journey Chiropractics for asking you, how can I support you? How can I support the mama?
Yeah.
So, what else brings you? How do you stay sane?
Oh, well, I try my best. You know, I have my struggles for sure, but honestly, God has given me so much strength through His Word. I really enjoy just waking up in the morning before my kids wake up. It's so important. And you know, it doesn't happen every day because some days are very different, but I try my best to keep a routine where I can start my day with the Lord and just like get on His word and just be encouraged by His promises. I have like so many Bible verses around my house and that I often read when I feel overwhelmed, and just knowing that I am not alone, that He has promised that all things work for good to those that love Him and according to His purpose. Like He has a purpose for this. And you know, I'm really enjoying reading the book of Psalms and just expressing again, like David, you know, he expressed his heart to God and just lets Him know exactly how he feels, but then he's making a choice. I'm going to praise you, God. I'm going to trust you, like no matter how my circumstances are, like what I'm walking right now, I'm going to choose to praise you and trust you, because at the end of the day, that's all we have, you know. I'm just I and it comes to the point like every day when I'm just so overwhelmed, I go back to and grab my where I keep my journal and I read what I wrote in the morning, and I'm like, okay, the day is not over yet. I can just take a turn, and you know, it's not, you can get yourself back up, and it's okay if you fail. I think that has been like my greatest things I'm learning, because I used to be so hard on myself, especially when I will snap and get really upset with when Kobie was doing something. Um, I'm understanding that it's gonna happen and that's okay if I don't handle it the best way, but I'm gonna make a choice right there. Okay, I did this. Now I can continue my day and handle it in another way.
We call that a fresh start in my house. And as a mama, so my boys are 8 and 10, and I don't even know how it started or where it was initiated, but if I lose it, because we all do, and we have to offer ourselves grace for that and make a better choice next time, we put our hands in and we call it a fresh start. And we all deserve a fresh start. We all need a fresh start. And a fresh start just feels good, right? It's like, okay, I might not have responded in that moment. Um, in a way that feels good. So let's have a fresh start. And how can I think about how to respond differently next time?
Right,
And plus, you're teaching your kids that. You're teaching your kids that important lesson that it's okay if you didn't have the best response. We can respond different next time.
right.
Yeah.
It
So
takes it takes the pressure off.
it
For
does. It takes the pressure off. So talk to me about the dynamic of having two other kids with a special needs son.
Wow. That has been something that I feel like I neglected for the first year and a half after getting my son's diagnosis. I was so focused on how can I fix it. I was like just doing all the research and the things that I needed to like follow for him to have a good plan and make sure that he was getting the therapies that he needed, that it was almost like I neglected the needs of my other two kids, and I'm so thankful God opened my eyes. And even, now when I feel like I'm just all about Kobie because he needs me the most, I really feel like God pulls me back and okay, well, I still have Cash, I still have Lucy. And my oldest son, Cash, well, I did mention he's my stepson. He so he's with us for a week and then he goes back to his mom's for another week, which it's another story there. God has worked it out amazingly. I have a great relationship with his mom. We're actually best friends. But my son has been a great support for me in a way that he is the perfect brother for Kobie. Like he wants to play with Kobie when he comes home. He is making sure that he's there for him, and he's often asking Kobie, "Can I give you a hug?" And some days Kobie might acknowledge him, other days he doesn't. And he's very patient and he's very understanding with that. And I remember one time having a conversation with him, and I asked him, how does it feel to have a sibling that is autistic? And he looked at me and he said, I feel very blessed because Kobie is special. And and it's almost like it has made him aware that kids that have repetitive behaviors like Kobie, that are just kind of in their own world, they're not weird. They just have all these struggles, and he has so much empathy and love for like special needs kids at his school. Like he tells me stories of kids on his school that have autism, and I think it's wonderful that he is so young and is already aware of that.
Yeah, that's definitely another God wink.
Yes.
That's really incredible.
Yeah, and it's been hard with my little girl because she's 2 and she copies her brother a lot. They spend so much time together. And I even went through a phase that when I had to take her to her 2-year-old, checkup, where I was pretty much told that I should get her diagnosed too because she might be on the spectrum as well, because she copies her brother. And she is still not, she doesn't talk yet, but she's, babbling and all, like, and she goes to like speech therapy. But I feel like that was hard for me, but I'm just like seeing it now that, they're all different. And some kids are very smart right away when they're 15, 18 months, others take longer, and that it's okay. Just that I had to really let go the pressure and just see my kids for who they are and love them for who they are, because they're three very different kids, but they're just combined perfect for it to be siblings. Yeah.
Well, and back to your point about, you know, the future and schools and thinking about the structures that are in place. So thinking about the medical industry, the education industry, and the way that our world operates is it should be this way. Your son should be reading at this level in this grade, and they're going to sit at a desk and they're going to learn. And what's wrong with your child? He's so hyper, but we've taken away gym, and then we're giving them the wrong foods at lunch, and we start to question the system a little bit, right? Like the system is broken. It's not our children that are broken, and every one of our children is different. And if your daughter is mimicking Kobie because that's what she knows and that's what she's learning, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with her. That's completely natural, right? And so then there's that pushback from, again, the mama bear standpoint or the parental standpoint of knowing your child and knowing what's right and what's not, and being advocates for them and being advocates for ourselves. Um, so I had another thought that when you were sharing, that I wanted to share, but before I jump into that, do you have any thoughts on that? Like, are you going to homeschool?
It's something that I go back and forth. I think I will love to, just because I've been a stay-at-home mom for almost 4 years now, and I as hard as it gets sometimes, but I really enjoy spending my days with my kids and being the one that raises them, you know. And I have there's a fear of mine when it comes to them, especially with Kobe going to a public school or like being around other kids. I get so anxious and worry already that how they would see him, how they would treat him. So it's something that I still go a lot, like I change my mind, but I kind of like give that to God, and I just, I once we get there, we'll see what happens. But for now, I'm very thankful I can be with them now. Yeah.
For sure. No, I love that answer too, because we don't have to overwhelm ourselves with putting the cart before the horse. I can think right now of 5 moms that I know that homeschool, and it has completely changed my world and my viewpoint of what that looks like and how much they're spending time in nature and even in word, um, and instilling different a different way of life into these children. And I tried homeschooling, when COVID happened. I tried homeschooling for several months, and I realized a lot about myself, that I was trying to work from home and do a corporate job and be a teacher and be a mother. And it overwhelmed me completely. So I think you have to know your own self, what works, what doesn't work, your own family dynamic, and maybe find that balance. And you will. I think my point of bringing that up is that any mamas out there listening, and even for you, Anna, maybe if you try something and it doesn't work, just be okay with refining it. We're
Right.
always we're always refining ourselves, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the other thing I thought of when you were chatting about Cash telling Kobe that he was special. Have you seen the movie Peanut Butter Falcon?
No.
Okay, you have to watch it. Butter Falcon. It is about a Down syndrome um, kid, and I think it's based on a true story. A Down syndrome kid that is in the system. He's in an orphanage or an assisted living because his parents gave him up, and he ends up breaking out. He breaks loose of he's super strong, right? Because I think that's a trait of Down syndrome. That's their something special about them, right? They're really strong. So he breaks through the bars of his window and he crawls out in his underwear, in his whitey tighties, and he's running away from the assisted living. And he ends up meeting this outcast. He befriends this outcast, and they go through this whole story of how this kind of down and out man falls in love with um this special needs kid, and what they can teach us and what they can save us from. It's
Mhm.
really good. I think you'll really love it. And then there's a Down syndrome video that's out there, and it's It's not for kids, because there's some really, there's swearing, but then there's also some aggressive language in it. Have you seen the Down syndrome video where he's like, "They told me I can't, but I can. They told me I couldn't get a job, but I did." Have you seen
Mhm.
it?
I think so. I think
Okay.
it is. Yes.
Yeah, I love it though
I know what
because
you're talking about.
this
Yeah.
is what you're walking through. It's like, "Hey, wait a minute. What do you mean? What do you mean
Yeah.
he can't? Let me show you that he can," you know?
Yeah.
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 And
And
you
it
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, sorry. Sorry. I just yeah, I was when you're sharing that, I'm thinking of like um I already even Kobie doesn't speak yet. It's almost like I can already see his special interest and like the things that he's gonna be really good at. And I'm just so excited for him because even though he has a disability, that doesn't stop him, like in the future, won't stop him for doing things that he's really going to enjoy. I see him as someone talented. Like he loves music. He's all day long, like almost trying to sing. And I don't know, it's really cool because he's teaching me so much in a way that there's so many things that I didn't know I needed to change myself, but because of his special needs, I'm learning that okay, these are the things that I need to change. They really they I don't know, it's almost like God put him in my life to give me so much more than I originally thought I needed.
Yeah, that's very amazing.
Yeah.
What does having a special needs son look like in your marriage?
It's hard. I
Yeah.
would say because my husband is a lot, I would say, like, stronger emotionally than me. Like, I'm someone that really has days that all I wanna do is just maybe talk about it or just, cry about it, whatever that looks like, right? And my husband is more, like, stable in a way that okay, well, this is what we're going through and it's gonna be okay. And that sometimes it's encouraging, but other times you do need to have that space where it's like we can talk about it and you can like listen and just be there and provide, the comfort. It doesn't always need to be like a plan or I don't know, like positive all day long or it's gonna be fine. You know what I mean? And I come to the point to understand that that's just how he's built. It's not nothing intentional. It's not him like neglecting it or trying to avoid it. That's just how he is. And we're obviously very different, which is so funny because we're so opposite. But that's sometimes that's what makes it work.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, my husband and I are the same way, and he is the yin to my yang for sure, and I'm so grateful for that. And I do think going back to the word fix, I feel like men do try to fix the situation. They do want to be the what is it? The horse, the prince on the horse and the come in, but sometimes we just need to cry and be listened to and,
Um,
you know.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're definitely, learning and we're thankful that we have God in our lives and we have like a support system that it's there for us because it's challenging. And for my husband was a little bit harder to kind of get involved with the process and be okay with, Kobe going through an evaluation and getting the results. Um, but he feels more comfortable with the chiropractor care and the nervous system and all this information. That's where he's at. That's what he focuses on instead of, this is his diagnosis, like this is how he's always going to be. So, um, it's it's good because he also helps me in a way and we just kind of like sometimes I have to just understand that it's okay if he's not the person I'm going to go right away to talk to because other like for example Cash's mom my like she is someone that I when I spend time with her honestly, she's a person that I feel more comfortable talking about Kobie because she never really gives me an answer or tries to understand where I'm at. She just really listens and she sees me. And I really, really appreciate that. You need a person in your life. If you're a special needs mom, you need a friend or a mom that you can just say, it's hard. It's hard. And they see it. They don't have to tell you like, well, life is unfair, or you know what I mean? Like other comments I will hear. So um yeah, I really I pray when I went for other moms that they have a friend like that.
Such an important point to make for sure. Sisterhood and female support is definitely a blessing and important. Yeah.
Yes.
So you mentioned in the questions that I asked you ahead of time that you are from Honduras.
Yes.
Yeah. And I love that. So, but your husband is not, correct?
No, no,
Okay.
he's yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about that. Tell us your journey here.
Whoa, yeah. So I moved from Honduras when I was 19. That was crazy for sure because I didn't speak English. I just came and started learning the language and started trying to adjust to the culture. You know, it's been now 8 years that I lived here in Michigan, and as much as I love this country, and I'm very grateful that I'm an American citizen. You know, I but there's a piece of like me like back home and like my language, my culture, my food that I don't know, it's just and only the people that left their countries and moved here, like, would understand what I'm trying to say. Um, but it was for sure a roller coaster and, you know, to adjust and leave my country behind. Um, but I'm very thankful I have the opportunity to visit, you know, whenever I can. I know other people that are in this country, they don't have that opportunity, so, I'm very grateful for that.
Well,
And you
your English is amazing.
and that's funny because, you know, we have like different cultures with like my husband and being married to someone American and you just really have to learn that it's nothing intentional because we're more like warm, you know, when we see like our people, we're loud, we hug, we are just full of, you know, passion, I guess. And I in here it's a little bit colder and like my husband, you know, and I had to really learn that it's nothing personal, it's nothing like intentional, it's just different and that's okay. You can bring your culture and add on it, but like don't expect them to be the same, you know?
Yes, that would be, like you said, something that I can't imagine because I didn't have to go through that. But yeah, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Are you guys planning on staying in the States?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
You said you became a US citizen.
Yes, I did. That was a quite intense, uh, you know, progress to do that. Like lots of interviews. I had to like study the Constitution and sit in front of like an immigration lawyer, and it was very intimidating process, but it was so worth it. I That was probably one of the best days of my life, just getting that diploma, and it was really a dream come true. Because I remember growing up in Honduras, you know, as a little kid, I would watch movies and like watch the snow on the TV and be like, wow, like there's just this fascination about America, and I'm really blessed and thankful to be here.
Yeah. Another sunny side perspective, girl. You just emanate sunshine. You do.
Oh,
Um, so I always like to close the interview by asking the question, and it can have absolutely nothing to do with motherhood. It can have absolutely nothing to do with autism or faith or what it can have anything to do with anything at all. And so I just ask you to close your eyes and put your hand on your heart. And if there was one final message or one final thing that you maybe take a deep breath before you even, share it with us. What would that be? Take a moment and think about that.
I will say there is hope. There is hope. And honestly, walking through this journey with a child with special needs and just life overall, being a mom, being a wife, um, it there will things that will come, trials, temptations that will be hard. But if you put your trust and your faith in Christ, like you hold on to the hope that He has given us, you will be okay. Honestly, that's my biggest thing walking through this autism journey. I pray every day for my son's needs, but I also pray for whatever, God's will is in his life, and that he just gives me the strength and the comfort and the peace that I need to be there for him, and that my son grows like knowing that he's loved, like he grows knowing his identity in Christ, and like just holding to that, because this world, it's hard out there, and it's going to be hard for him, like growing up and watch how much easier it's for others than for him. But if he has that foundation, he's going to be okay.
Absolutely. Instead of quicksand, right? He'll have that firm foundation. Well, thank you so much for doing this, for sharing with the world about your son, having open dialogue with me about autism. I think that if we can all rally around each other in resources, if you guys have any resources on autism that you could share with the Sunshine community and with Anna, I would invite you to post on this, to comment on this episode. You can comment on YouTube. You can comment on wherever the audio episode is posted. You can email me at bornsunnyside@gmail.com. And I will share those resources, because the more we share, the more we talk about it, the better. How can people find you, Anna? Do you have a social media dedicated to autism, or is there a way people can reach out to you?
I No, I don't have it. It's funny because I've been thinking about it a lot. I definitely want to start my own like Instagram page that is dedicated just to the journey with Kobie and just spread hope. That's definitely that something that's been on my heart. But for now, yeah, I just have like my personal Instagram account. But I would love to connect with other moms, that have like a special needs son. If they they are able to maybe like send me a friend request. I That's something so important to me, and I always like try when I go to like take my son to therapy to chat with the moms. And I don't know, I feel like you need someone that knows what it is to walk in the same shoes. Yeah. Yeah.
You absolutely do. So when I post this on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and all the places, I already can see it. I see it right now. This community aligning, people introducing themselves to you and to each other. There's this beautiful community called Detroit Moms, and Detroit Moms is all about moms supporting each other. I mentioned Fourth Try before, and I can't wait to get over there. So I know that would be a beautiful support system for you too, because when we support the mother, we support the family and we support the kids, and we need to do more of that. So, um, yeah, so thank you. I'm just so grateful. It is so wonderful to see your face and walk this journey with you. Again, to remind everybody, April is World Autism Awareness. And so, whatever we can do, maybe if we see a child in the grocery store with their mom and we can tell that that mom is having a hard time and that child is having a hard time, maybe we think of this episode and offer more grace. Maybe we offer more support and more help, just those simple things that we can do to help each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for this space. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. My goodness.